Hi, I'm Derek Hilgert with Remax and the Hilgert Group, and I'm here today with Gus Ponstingl with Leak Detective, and we just actually sat through a 3-hour continuing education class where we pretty much learned as much as we could in 3 hours about all things water, how it relates to your house, how you want to keep it away from your home. And so we've got Gus here. He's the local expert. We want to ask him, when you started your company and why you decided to start your company.
Okay, so it's like a 30-year process, but it's only been around about 3 years, and so it goes way back. I've got a long history in architecture and in civil engineering. I'm not licensed in either one, but those all combined about 3 years ago, where actually realtors out there almost forced me to start working for them, and it has just taken off. I discovered a new approach to basement waterproofing that I'm going to steal the next thunder. It's a lot cheaper than the other guys, and it's more effective, and so it's just really growing a lot. But it just kind of came out of I'm a little bit of an entrepreneur, and I keep failing enough that I finally learned something that I think I did right. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, we were just talking about this, and one of the things that I said, and Gus didn't tell me I was completely wrong, so I'll go with it here and see how it sounds out loud. But so I think there are other companies, and we're not here to talk good or bad necessarily about the competition and what they do, but I would say that Gus is a distinctly different option. Probably if you've ever experienced some of the other guys and the extreme measures that they might take to fix a basement or a leak, the way they go about doing it, the cost associated with the typical methods of doing that, while they might be effective, they're very expensive. And I kind of likened that to living in the 21st century. I'm glad that I live in a time where there are surgeons, because when you need them, you really need them. And there's medications that you can take if you can't do something different. But I'm of the idea that I'd rather start with a chiropractor for my body rather than cutting me open or taking a lifetime of pills. And I sort of think that's a transferable analogy to starting with a process that Gus may do. And if it doesn't work, if he can't find a reasonable solution, then you call in the other companies and you spend big bucks on fixing your basement.
Yeah, most of the systems out there haven't been innovated in a long time. Well, the materials have changed because there's a little more technology with the materials, but the actual overall philosophy or the basic science behind it hasn't changed in 100 years, if that. And so my approach is based on, I would say, a little bit more scientific approach, because it is an experiment. Every time I go out and check your house and figure out what's going on, and I think one of the things that really differentiates me is the ultimate result is about, I'd say, 95% cheaper, and that's based on estimates I get for the same work from somebody else had, and then I'd say it's 100% more effective because it stops the leak.
Well,
that's really the key is it stops the leak, and that's my goal is to figure out what caused the leak, and then to fix just that little piece. And so if it's a lot of times it's a tube of caulk, or move a downspout a little bit, or something like that. Now, not always, but I'd say more than you can imagine. 70% of the time I say, minus my fee, it costs like less than $100 to fix.
Nice.
70% of the time. And then it goes up from there, but it's rarely more than a few thousand.
Very nice. And then I think there's, again, just sitting through this class, I know there's so many different ways water can find its way into your home. So I don't know if this is a fair question, but do you have anything, a strange circumstance, or just a completely unusual something or other that you figured out? Maybe it ended differently than what, the cause was different than what you thought it was going to be?
I would say 50% of my jobs it ends up different. And that's because, when you visually inspect something, you can't see exactly what's causing it. So something weird happens and you're like, oh, I never would have imagined that. The project I worked with Derek on was pretty odd. How it was one of those things where it was a flat roof and water was going through, and there was a gutter with no downspout on it. And that was odd in and of itself. The builder missed that, and then water was backing up out of that down into the house. But it's always a challenge because I've kind of developed a testing methodology. Every time I go out, I'm altering that methodology. So you could say that every job's very, very unique, and I have to kind of think on my feet and rig things up so that I can control my test, that I get the right result, or find out what's going on. So yeah.
Nice. And then just maybe any homeowner tips to avoid needing to call you to begin with.
And so it's good drainage control, so that means gutters, downspouts, and extensions should be all cleaned, put on. The extension is the part that a lot of people kind of I would say even if they get their gutters and their downspouts clean, the extension they can drain too short. So get that extension out of your landscape bed, beyond where the landscaping bed ends. Get it out into the yard, make sure it's got a good slope down. Get rid of the flexible accordion ones. Go get yourself some good gutter pipe. It's rigid, it will work. If you can't, for maintenance reasons, bury it or do something a little different. Obviously call me for some quick advice on that. But that seems to be the real critical zone, and a lot of the other things kind of fall as sort of accomplices to that. So, you have other issues that could go along with that, but just getting that water away from your house is a huge help.
Perfect. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes to educate us on what's going on. I know it's just the tip of the iceberg, literally. And then I would say if any of you guys out there enjoyed hearing from Gus or the information we provided you found helpful, go ahead and click like and share this with friends or family so they can benefit from it as well. And then what's your website? How would they find you if they want to look you up?
It's www.theleakdetective.net. And the phone number is 402-309-3911.
All right, perfect. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thanks.